Good afternoon. The sun is shining on Rockville today. It is a beautiful day, surrounded by colleagues, friends, allies, leaders here in Montgomery County and the state of Maryland. We're good. And here we are. So welcome everybody to the 5th annual Pride flag raising here in Rockville. It is June 1st, the first day of Pride Month, and I am so excited to get this month started right here in Rockville as all of us share our love and pride for our incredibly beautifully diverse community of Montgomery County. And there are a number of events that we are going to be hosting throughout the month, but it's really important for us to start here, start in the seat of government, to show that our leaders at all levels are here to support members of the LGBTQ plus community and to support everybody here in Montgomery County. And this is really a time for all of us to celebrate our beautiful diversity and redouble our commitment to inclusion and acceptance. I'm extremely proud of the work that I and all of us here have been doing to make sure that everyone in Montgomery County is seen, respected, and celebrated for being their true selves. That's really what all of this is about. And we know that visibility for members of the LGBTQ plus community is at an all-time high. But vitriol and hate is also at an all-time high, particularly towards our trans and non-binary community. As we stand here, we watch other communities, other states, other jurisdictions introducing and passing hostile legislation against members of the LGBTQ plus community, rolling back rights, pushing them aside, and closing the closet that so many of us have fought to get out of. Personally, as a Jew and as a gay man, I know the hate that is pervading our community and our country. Since January of this year, there have been over 520 pieces of legislation introduced across this country against the LGBTQ plus community. And of those, 220 have specifically targeted our trans and non-binary community. It is a record, and it is a disgrace. The weaponization of this kind of public policy driven by extremist groups has a long history. But we are all standing here to say no. We're all standing here because that is not the type of community we have here in Montgomery County. It is not the type of community we have in Maryland, because we want to make sure that all of our laws, all of our policies support every single resident, making sure that they're able to live their true and authentic selves and have the support that they need to be healthy and whole. And as we continue fighting for civil rights and liberties, it is also a time to reflect on the progress and focus on the work ahead. And that's what my colleagues who are all here today pledge ourselves to. And I look forward to the day when no one should feel ashamed for being who they are. No one should be ashamed for posting their loved ones or posting pictures of their true and authentic selves. And that our love for others and our love for ourselves should not be weaponized, demonized, and outlawed. And so we're going to continue making sure that Montgomery County is a safe and welcoming place for everybody to call home. And just as the sun is shining here, it will continue shining on us and making sure that everybody is welcome. And with that, I'd like to pass it over to the county executive to make a few comments. County Executive Elrich.
I'm really happy to be here, and thank you all for coming out here today. Montgomery County, strives to be a welcoming and inclusive place, and we've made this kind of our hallmark. We talk about it pretty much everywhere we go. But we can talk about it because we've actually been working at it. We have a consistency between what we say we want to do and what we're doing, and that, I think, helps. Like Evan said, I'm kind of horrified at what I see going around us in the world, the kind of places that actually encourage hate and vitriol and single out populations, whether it's the LGBTQ plus community or whether it's Hispanics or Jews. The weaponization of hate and the legitimization of hate is something I haven't seen in a very long time. And I think a lot of us thought we had moved to a better place until a certain lunatic became president and kind of walked us backwards. But it's really a sad commentary. And who knew that our democracy was so fragile? I think a lot of us thought that the things we had built and the communities we had built had greater resilience and more acceptance, and didn't think it could be, the dark side could be as woken as easily as it was, but it was. Montgomery County, I want to introduce Rich Madaleno, who is a champion in the state legislature on this issue. And I'm proud to have Dr. Amina Johnson here, Montgomery County's first LGBTQ plus liaison. Amina? Raise your hand, Dr. Johnson. Oh, she's waving back there. She's coming. And in 2020, the Montgomery County unanimously passed the state's first LGBTQ plus Bill of Rights, which explicitly bans discrimination in healthcare facilities, nursing homes, and personal care facilities, and helps Montgomery County declare loudly and proudly that hate has no place here. Montgomery County is associated with pioneering LGBTQ plus political leaders, advocates, and artists. I was on the council in Tacoma Park when Bruce Williams became the mayor of Tacoma Park, and the first in Maryland, openly gay person to be elected to an office. And that was remarkable. We've helped foster activism that fought employment discrimination and government activism amidst the AIDS crisis. We worked during the AIDS crisis to make sure that people got treatment. Even through the most recent health crisis, we've made sure that we worked with all populations in the community, particularly understanding who the most vulnerable populations were. I was on the city council in 1993 in Tacoma Park when we passed what was one of the earliest domestic partnership laws in the country. And that law was significant. And this was not originally on the agenda, and people started coming to us. We have Washington Adventist Hospitals in Tacoma Park, was in Tacoma Park. And people would say that their loved one was in the hospital, and the person's parents weren't allowing their partner to come and visit them. And the hospital legitimized it by saying, well, they're not family members, because they didn't recognize the family relationship. Even if both parties said we're a family, that didn't count. So we created a domestic registry so people could register their relationships and the hospitals could no longer turn them away. And that's back in 1993. We've come a long way since 93. This is 30 years. We've come a long way in 30 years, and Montgomery County's been at the lead of so much of that. And in 2018, Preservation of Maryland announced a new effort to honor LGBTQ history. There's grant money used by Maryland Historical Trust to support the creation of a historic study of the LGBTQ plus community and their influence in the state. And it's looking at ways that these stories can be told and those places seen as historically significant. And that's another good thing about being 30 years post this. The stories can actually be told now. These are not something tells you privately. We can actually talk about it. The fight isn't over, obviously. This month we celebrate as a county, even as we're recognizing that the fight isn't over. And we've seen the issues since last year's Pride Month that are alarming. 2 incidents where volunteers had to step in to protect performers who were targeted by Proud Boys. And I was at one of those incidents, and it was really nice to see the overwhelming number of community members who were there to defend the library and defend the readers and to reject the Proud Boys. They were hard to find. Yep. And that was nice that they were hard to find. And they should go someplace where they'd be harder to find. And I want to thank and commend the Parasol Patrol for their commitment to safety, equality, and showing our youth positive role models. So this is great to have this event, great to have everybody here and all the elected officials here. This is one issue in which there is no division. We are all on the same page. This is absolutely the morally right thing to be doing, and it's great to be in a situation where we all understand that and we act on it. So thank you all very much.
Thank you. Before I pass it over to some of the folks who are behind standing, I do want to recognize other leaders who are here. A number of our federal partners wish they could be here, but they're doing people's business on Capitol Hill. And so I want to recognize Ashima Talwar from Senator Van Hollen's office, Kevin Mack from Senator Cardin's office, Congressman Jamie Raskin has his district chief, Kathleen Connor, and the entire district office here. Thank you all. And Congressman Trone has Andrew Donnellan here who as well. Thank you, Andrew. There are also a number of LGBTQ plus leaders who I want to recognize and give my thanks to. Philip Alexander Downey from Live in Your Truth, Allison Stenson from the Therapy Cafe, which provides mental health support for individuals. Jill McCrory from MoCo Pride Center is here. Dr. Amina Johnson, as noted. Dr. Johnson, thank you very much. Also see Travis Simon from SEIU Local 500. Thank you very much, Travis, for your leadership as well. Now, I want to turn it over to one of the newest members of the Maryland leadership, and that is Anthony Woods, who is Maryland's Secretary of Veterans Affairs. And prior to joining the Moore-Miller administration, Mr. Wood served as the executive director of Quad Fellowship, the first of its kind fellowship program designed to build ties for the next generation of scientists and technologists around the world. And Secretary Woods graduated from West Point. He earned a Bronze Star in Iraq. And pride is personal to him. It's deeply personal to him, as he was discharged from the Army in 2008 under the old don't ask, don't tell policy that barred military service to members who were of the LGBTQ plus community. But, like so many, he persevered, and he resumed service when that law was repealed. And we now have the honor of having him serving our residents of Maryland as the Secretary of Veterans Affairs. Secretary Woods.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Council President Glass, thank you so much for inviting me here today. To all of our elected leaders, thank you for being here. It takes all of us to build a Maryland that leaves no one behind, where all of our citizens can live their lives authentically in the open in communities that welcome them. When President Glass asked me to attend and speak at this flag raising, I had no doubts of its importance. As he mentioned, as a veteran, flag raising is kind of an important moment to us as a person who serves in the military. While I was at West Point or on active duty, I spent every morning and every evening participating in the almost ritualistic raising and lowering of the flag. In the mornings, reveille is the bugle call that begins the day. It's energetic, it's loud. Retreat in the evening is the lowering of the colors or the flag, and it's a somber moment almost, and it's an opportunity to reflect. For that moment, all activity ceases, people get out of their cars, and they salute as the flag is lowered at sunset. Both are moments to pause and collectively take stock of the moment. That's why this flag raising is so important to me today. Pride is an opportunity to celebrate progress in the fight for equality, to celebrate love and acceptance. But it's also a moment to reflect on the present moment and to take stock of the battle lines that are being drawn now and for the future. As an openly gay member of Governor Moore's cabinet, I think it's about the remarkable progress our country and our state have made. As you mentioned, I was impacted by the Don't Ask, Don't Tell law. I was very happy to be involved in repeal, but even more proud to serve alongside openly gay, lesbian, and trans service members right now in my current unit. Nearly a decade ago, I think we all know that Maryland obviously did not recognize same-sex marriage, but thanks to tireless organizing by some of the leaders here on this stage and leaders in our state house, we were able to become one of the first states in the nation to vote that in by popular election, which is exactly the reason why my husband Zach and I moved from Washington, D.C. to Maryland. The first. Exactly. The first. It's exactly right. And that makes a difference. When you're making a choice between Virginia and Maryland, it was a pretty easy choice when we knew that our love and our marriage would be recognized there. So we have pretty significant victories under our belt, and that's pretty great, and that feels pretty good. But I think everyone has already alluded to the fact that we have so much more work to do, right? We cannot rest on our laurels and simply celebrate this progress because we have so much more work to do. West Point taught me the importance of taking stock in the moment. The daily flag raising and lowering was a subtle but important reminder of this. But West Point also taught me about one of its graduates, General and then President Ulysses S. Grant. One of the things that made him really incredible was he was relentless after victory. He recognized that you need to begin the next battle immediately after seizing an objective before your opponent has an opportunity to regroup themselves. And so as I see the rise of anti-trans legislation and restrictions on recognizing our livelihoods in classrooms, the battle lines are clear and they have been drawn. It's clear we have a tremendous amount of work to do, but when we have resources and allies like the folks who are standing up here today and who are with us here today, I have no doubt in our ability to win. So this pride, let us recommit and re-energize ourselves in the fight for equality, and I'm so thankful that you're here, and thanks for having me. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary Woods, for your service and for being open about it. Next, I would like to invite Lee Blinder to make some comments. Lee is the founding executive director of Trans Maryland, which is a multiracial, multi-gender, trans-led power-building organization dedicated to Maryland's trans community. And Lee has been an activist for decades, and we have all been bettered because of their leadership and activism here in Montgomery County. And Lee, I invite you. Where are you, Lee? You're over here, Lee.
Thank you so much. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm going to take a quick moment to just do a call and response. I'm wearing Trans Maryland's shirt today. For those of you who can't see it, I broke from my usual bow tie and professional look. Honor of Pride. And our shirt says trans people belong. And I'd love to have a moment for you all to repeat that with me. So we'll say, where do trans people belong in Maryland? And where do trans people belong? All right, wonderful. I heard a little hesitation. Everyone's a little sleepy. It's the afternoon. We're all full of sun. So let's do it a couple more times. So, and you can say everywhere also. I heard a couple of everywheres. We won't disallow it. So, where do trans people belong? All right. How about one more time? Where do trans people belong? In power. Awesome. I'm seeing and hearing some off script, and I'm here for it. Thank you, Delegate Acevero, always a staunch champion for us and pushing our whole state forward. So I'm going to take a few moments to tell you a little bit about Trans Maryland, about myself, and kind of about what is incumbent on all of us for the future. So you've heard from many of the speakers about kind of our trajectory so far to where we're standing today, and or sitting or existing today. And part of that is kind of looking at who is here, who's not here, who is able to move about in public space, who isn't. And I just want to take a moment to say, like, and ask, and generally I direct many of my questions to our trans, non-binary, and gender non-conforming community, who sometimes are willing and able to be open in spaces and often are not. The closet door is slammed and shut and locked behind me because I'm very Googleable trans person. There's no more closet left for me. And I do that even as a deeply private person because I know when I'm talking to our GSA students here in Montgomery County, they tell me I'm the first openly trans person that they have met in real life. And I want to still just think about that. For myself, when I graduated from MCPS in the year 2000, I was a non-binary, transgender, and queer person who's neurodivergent and who also did not ever see what adulthood looked like for myself as that identity. That was not something that I got to see. And now we have a whole different world where young people can see transgender celebrities on TV. They can hear from folks Sometimes in government, we don't have any openly transgender people elected to paid office in Maryland. Hopefully one day we're going to get there. Maybe one of you all listening is going to run. Yeah. Call me, let me know. But I say these things to kind of track where we are and who is able to be represented, who are we not seeing, who are we not hearing from, who is not present. And so I want to ask for a moment, and if you don't feel comfortable raising your hand, just know that I feel your hand and your sense and your presence, and you don't have to out yourself. But who are the folks who are impacted by this news that we're having throughout our country about trans people being impacted by these horrible, horrible laws? So who's feeling the impact of that? Certainly me. So for any of you who that is sitting heavy, who you're feeling like your personal self, your safety, your well-being, you're planning how you're going to travel. You're saying, oh, my kids aren't going to see their grandparents anymore because of where they live, because you're worried about losing custody to them. And I want to still just, sit with that for a moment. Pride is a riot. We have a history, in our community of how we have fought back, how we have gathered our allies, and how we have sometimes really left people behind. So today we're going to take this opportunity to think about how we can take small steps, how we can do small actions, and then larger actions. If you have the resources, time for some larger actions, If you need to open a door, if you have a position of privilege and power, now is the time. We urgently need your help. Thank you. Sorry.
You got it. Thank you so much, Lee, for your leadership and your beautiful words of wisdom. Next, I'd like to invite our Chief Administrative Officer, Mr. Rich Madalino, to make a few words. As the County Executive noted, Rich has had an incredible career, and in particularly in Annapolis, where he led on so many fronts, but pushed marriage equality to law, and has been an incredible champion for so many people. And so, Rich, thank you for the work that you've done and all that we know you're going to continue doing.
So the way that the council president opened in introducing me, I thought he said I had a wonderful career. I thought, oh my God, is this a retirement party here? Okay. I know it was a hard budget, but I didn't think it was that bad. Thank you
very much for coming.
Yes. So I had to jump in when Secretary Woods was talking about Maryland being the first state, because I'm contractually obligated to Martin O'Malley to say that, because Maryland's polls closed an hour before Maine that day. So we claim that being the first in the country, which is so incredibly important. And it would not have happened without LGBTQ plus people standing up and demanding their rights, like Evan Glass. It would not have happened without incredible allies like Marc Elrich, like all of these county council members. And it's very important to note, without Chris Van Hollen, who as a member of the state Senate stood up and led the effort to get Maryland's first gay inclusive anti-discrimination law passed in 2001, and Jamie Raskin, who was, as a member of the state Senate, the floor leader on getting marriage equality done. So we have amazing leaders in Montgomery County who have transformed this community, this state, and quite frankly, the nation, because we stood up and took action. I'm here to talk about this wonderful little bus that is sitting behind us, our Ride with Pride ride-on bus that will be in service starting today around the county. It will be going on every route. It will be stationed, it will rotate between every bus depot. So everyone in the county will have an opportunity to ride it. Everyone will have an opportunity to photograph it. Everyone will have an opportunity to see it in their community, and that is so very important. So thank you, Chris Conklin, the director of DOT, who is such a smart guy. He's moved over into the shade with other supporters over there, but thank you very much for doing this. Remember, ride-on fares are $1, thanks to County Executive Marc Elrich and Councilmember Evan Glass. So it'll just cost $1 to ride with pride. So make sure you get out and you do that. I think it's important that, I heard Sydney Katz, Councilmember Katz, came up with this idea. But you need to get your pride on with ride on. So this is your chance. Now, the bus is over there. It's spectacular. It has neon on it. There are going to be people around the country envious of this bus. Don't worry after the press conference, right? We're moving it up there into the circle, so it will be easy for people to go over, press, and everyone else to go over, take selfies, get it out there, and show this is the level of support that we have in Montgomery County for Pride Month. It's wrapped in a inclusive pride flag to demonstrate why we are importantly including everyone in our community. So as a resident, as a gay man, as a married man, I want to thank our council president for doing this work. Every year, the Pride Month that he helps coordinate, that he has brought to the county, is greatly appreciated. You touch so many people's lives by doing this, and you make young people know this is a county that cares, and they have leaders who care about them. So Evan, thank you for living your truth, for being a leader, and holding us all accountable for showing that each and every day in the county government. So thank you all, everyone. Happy Pride.
The CAO talking about buses and pride, two things I deeply love. So thank you very much, Rich. So now there are a lot of people who are here to show their support. And there's a few ways we can do this, colleagues. We can do it popcorn style, and what I will just invite is people to go down, come on up, make a brief comment to show your love, and then once it is all done, we will raise the pride flag. So I will start with Councilmember Lorianne Sales.
All right. Thank you, Council President Glass, and happy Pride Month. My name is Lorianne Sales, and I have the honor of serving as your council member at large, a member of the Health and Human Services Committee and the Economic Development Committee. I really appreciate our council president leading the effort, bringing us all together today. The pride flag is a symbol that hate has no home here in Montgomery County. At a time when attacks against the LGBTQ+ community are at an all-time high, we raise this flag high and proud to let the public know that those of all genders and sexual identities are welcome here in our county. I thank my colleagues for their unanimous support when we passed a resolution in March in support of Montgomery County's transgender community. This was one more step that we took to ensure that the transgender and LGBTQ+ community feels safe and protected here. It's great to see my good friend Lee Blinder, the Executive Director of Transgender Maryland, here today, and many other key leaders. They were a key community partner in getting this resolution passed. It is an honor to uplift their voice as well as those of the countless other LGBTQ+ advocates here in the state of Maryland. In particular, I would also like to shout out our parents and educators in Montgomery County who are teaching youth about what it means to be LGBTQ+ proud and normalizing it so that generations to come will learn to be more accepting. One of the biggest concerns that we hear from young people is that they do not feel comfortable expressing themselves and how they feel about their gender identity. Through education, we can overcome that and make it easier for all individuals, not just the LGBTQ+ community, to celebrate the best versions of themselves. I think most of us are aware of the group of parents that sued MCPS the other week over a policy that prohibits parents from opting their children out of lessons on gender identity and sexual orientation. I stand firm with MCPS in their decision and echo the sentiments that we as a county and a school system cannot opt out of diversity. Hearing the voices and perspectives of the LGBTQ+ community is critical to overcoming hateful ideology. While I'm not personally a member of the LGBTQ+ community, I have many loved ones who are. I pledge my support in doing everything I can to make them feel welcome, comfortable, and included. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Delegate Gabriel S. Severo, and I'm proud to represent District 39, which includes the communities of Gaithersburg, Montgomery Village, Germantown, Clarksburg, and Washington Grove. And I'm proud to stand here with my colleagues in county government, in state, but also representatives from our federal officials to not just kick off Pride Month, but to thank all the folks who are here today who are showing up in solidarity, and really the wider community that has embraced and continues to embrace LGBTQ plus Marylanders that live in Montgomery County and across our state. In 2018, and this is just evidence of the kind of community that we are when we talk about inclusivity and representation. In 2018, I was proud to have been elected by the people of District 39 to serve them in our state's capital, Annapolis, but also to become the first openly queer Afro-Latino elected to the House of Delegates, and that happened right here in Montgomery County. And I don't think it's just testament, I think it's not just testament to who our community is, but really it's testament to where we've come. And so we have so much more work that we need to do, and as a reminder that Pride is about resistance, but it's also about reflection. And we need to reflect on not just the struggles of the people whose shoulders we stand on, from trans and non-binary folks. It is important that we are centering them in our fight, because we know that when we talk about the Stonewall Rebellion, it is trans, non-binary folks who have and continue to lead our movement, but oftentimes are neglected when we talk about advocacy and public policy making, and we're here to say no more. And so I am proud that this year the Maryland legislature passed the Trans Health Equity Act, which I was proud to vote for, which ensures that Maryland conforms to federal law and, quite frankly, is doing what several other states are doing to ensure that trans Marylanders have the coverage that they need, and the decisions that are being made are made between the patient, the parent, as well as the provider. But there's so much more work that we need to do, not just at the state level, but also at the local level. And so before I leave this podium, I just want to point out a couple of things. One is that we're still dealing with the issue of LGBTQ plus youth homelessness. Too many of our youths are forced to the streets because of who they are, and we need to do more to ensure that we have youth drop-in centers with inclusive programming. And as we talk about transportation and riding with Pride, that those youth that need to get to those drop-in centers are able to ride our county transportation system free of charge and get where they need to be so that they can get the services that they need. So we need a youth drop-in center. We need to ensure that we're providing culturally responsive pedagogy, where we're teaching LGBTQ plus history, but we're training the people who should be responsible for teaching that, those instructions. And then lastly, I'll remind folks that while LGBTQ plus people appreciate allyship and allies, what we really need is co-conspirators and people who are willing to make the same sacrifices that we do so that we could get some measure of dignity and respect wherever we live, and that includes Montgomery County and wherever it is in Maryland. So thank you all so very much. We will continue to push LGBTQ plus equality legislation at the state level so that Maryland leads the rest of the country in ensuring that all of our community members feel welcome. So thank you all so very much.
Hi, I'm Kate Stewart. I'm the County Council member representing District 4. And I'm here showing up today as, I like the co-conspirator. I'm going to take that, as an ally and a mom of 2 young adults who are trans and queer. And Lee, as you always do, touched my heart, because these laws are impacting people across our country and in our community. And it's impacting individuals, it's impacting families, it's impacting whole communities. And that's why I'm so glad that I was able to raise my children here in Montgomery County in the state of Maryland, where we have such amazing leaders and support networks. And Pride is a time to celebrate, because joy and celebration are a form of resistance. And so this month That is what we need to do. We need to continue resisting, and we're going to do it joyfully and celebrating all across Montgomery County, and I can't wait to see how we show up this month. So thank you all for joining us today, and thank you to our council president.
Amor es amor. Love is love, period. Thank you to our council president, Evan Glass, for putting us all together. My name is Natalie Fanny Gonzalez. I'm the council member for the amazing District 6. You know, one of the best memories that I had 2 young children, and when I took them to pre-K, I remember my oldest coming home and saying, "Mommy, my friend Dylan has 2 moms." And I'm like, wow, that is awesome, baby. And then probably the year after that, my youngest son, Luca, had a teacher who was a lesbian. So she happily, shared the love that she had for her wife. So, and that is Montgomery County, where you do not restrain yourself to say who you love. And with that, thank you so much for your leadership and for putting this event together. Bye.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Sidney Katz. I'm the District 3 Montgomery County Council member. We're standing in District 3 right now, and I brought the weather. I just want you to know that. And with my friends from Rockville, they're also here. But I stand before you as a proud child of Montgomery County. I grew up here. My mother was born in Gaithersburg. My family has lived here over 100 years. And these events make every one of us proud. I've been honored to be at every one of the 5, it's hard to believe it's already 5, every one of the 5 flag-raising ceremonies, and I stand with pride when that has happened, and I also stand with pride with each and every one of you to not only thank you for doing and being here and doing what you do for Montgomery County each and every day. I thank each one of my colleagues for everything that they're doing each and every day. But I stand before you realizing that together we are strong. And I have constantly said that a community is a family, and I thank my family for being here today. Thank you very much.
Happy Pride, everyone. I'm Councilmember Will Jawando, an at-large member of the council. It's an honor to be here. As Sydney was just reflecting, when Evan and I were elected 5 years ago, we had the first flag raising here and now have done it every year, and want to thank him just again for his leadership. Representation matters, and he's led with distinction on this issue and so many others. You know what's true? Hope and love, not fear and hate. And in Montgomery County, we have time in and again chosen hope and love. You see it represented in all the elected officials and all those who have supported, the bus behind us, the stories that you're hearing. And it matters that you make that decision, because there's a narrative, there's a lie that says that when we support our transgender community, that lessens my life. And that's not true. But people would have you believe that. And so I'm proud to serve in a county, in a state that says time and time again that we choose hope, we choose love, we choose progress, and yes, we choose pride. Happy Pride Month.
Hi everyone, I'm Marilyn Balcom. I'm the council member for District 2, which is Germantown, Clarksburg, Poolsville, that area. And before I thank Council President, I want to thank the people who came and brought us the water because we were dying, so thank you. Thank you for that. I just want to say that although this is my first flag raising with the County Council, I am with you every day. I stand with pride. I am an ally. I am a co-conspirator. And I want to make sure that everyone in Montgomery County, everyone in Maryland feels welcome for who you are every day. And please make sure that if there's anything I can do, please contact my office. And please know that I'm with you today and every day. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Delegate Joe Vogel. I represent Gaithersburg and Rockville. I want to start by just echoing the appreciation for County Council President Evan Glass. He has made history time and again here in Montgomery County, but it's not just about making history. It's about how he's been a role model for countless young LGBTQ plus people who can see themselves in Evan and see that they too can be leaders in their community. I don't want us to lose sight of what's happening here today with everyone standing behind me. In a contrast from what we're seeing across the country, right, with leaders who make it their mission to attack the LGBTQ plus community. Here in Montgomery County and here in Maryland, with one voice, we are speaking up and saying LGBTQ plus people belong in Maryland, are accepted in Maryland, are loved in Maryland, and can be proud in Maryland. And that is no small thing, especially in the face of what we're seeing right now. And much like my colleague, Delegate Esavero, was saying, we have to recognize not only where we're at right now and where we're going, but where we've been. We stand on the shoulders of giants here in our state, like Senator Madalito, who made it so that with their leadership and their organizing, made it so that Maryland would lead the way on legalizing same-sex marriage and lead the way in making sure that LGBTQ plus people in our state are respected and celebrated. But the work is just beginning. We have a long fight ahead to make sure that every LGBTQ plus person in our state feels welcome, feels accepted, and feels celebrated.
Just absolutely full. I'm so grateful that you have put this together, not just this year, but in years past. And I say this as someone who I'm often, to be honest, a little suspicious of things like flag raisings and pretty symbols, because often those can be used as stand-ins for taking real action, moving real policy. But I feel great about it here in Montgomery County because, as you have heard, here in Montgomery County in Maryland, we take action. We take action, and this is an opportunity to talk about what we've done and what we're going to do. And that is something that I'm very enthusiastic about. And I'll tell you a very brief anecdote. The group that County Executive Elrich mentioned, who volunteers and shows up to defend drag story hours, if you're looking for them, they're now called the Rainbow Defense Coalition. They briefly went by Parasol Patrol. But please feel free to join Rainbow Defense Coalition. I was happy to help co-found that group a year ago. They all run themselves now. But it's putting yourself out there to protect those spaces. And I was asked, after attending a number of those events, I was asked by an ally, not a co-conspirator here as it would be, can't you find another way to be inclusive of the LGBTQIA plus community? This seems a little risky. We're bringing in a lot of hate. Can't you find another quieter way to support the LGBTQIA plus community? And my response to that was, absolutely the hell not. The more hate that we see directed towards an impacted community, the more we need as co-conspirators and as people who sit in seats of power, the more need there is for us to stand up and be loud and proud and say we are willing to take and absorb and deflect and publicly push back against that kind of hatred. Because if we don't do that, that's a sign to the impacted community that we're okay with letting that kind of hatred be shouldered and burdened by that impacted community. And here in Montgomery County in Maryland, that's not what we do here. That's not what we do here. And I'm proud to say that every single colleague and friend and partner who is here standing with us today, no one has ever questioned that. These are solid co-conspirators, and I'm proud to stand with them and to work together with all of them and with our nonprofit and community friends to make sure that we continue that history of making positive, meaningful, tangible change on behalf of the LGBTQIA plus community. Thank you.
Kristen, you didn't introduce yourself.
Oh my God. And my name is Kristen Mink. I'm very proud to represent District 5 on the County Council, which is the east coast of Montgomery County, as well as Leisure World. Sorry, Councilmember Katz. Thank you all.
Happy Pride, everybody. I am Delegate Lori Charcudian. I represent District 20 in the Maryland General Assembly. I'm the mom of 2 queer children, and I am so proud and grateful that I could raise them in Montgomery County, where they were embraced for their whole selves, and I am fully committed to being a co-conspirator, to working with everybody behind me and all my colleagues to make sure that everybody in Maryland can be embraced and loved as their full, authentic selves. Happy Pride.
Hi, good afternoon on this beautiful day. My name is Linda Foley. I'm the delegate representing District 15, which is just west of here, west and a little south of here. And happy Pride. Happy Pride in being here in Montgomery County. That's an inclusive community where everyone can be their true selves. Happy Pride. Pride in our elected officials who fight for people to have equal rights across our community. And also pride in the fact that I get to serve in the Maryland General Assembly in a state where we value everyone and make sure everyone is able to be their best selves. So happy Pride, everybody. I also want to mention that I'm proud to live in a state where we have a baseball team that gives these great Pride glasses out on Pride Day. So thank you very much, and we have a lot of work to do going forward, and I'll be there with you in the fight as a co-conspirator. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I'm Bridget Donald Newton. I'm the mayor of this great city, Rockville, Maryland, and we are proud to be the 8th most diverse city in America, small in size, wide in stature. We are very honored that you all are doing this here in our city. I am joined today by Councilmember Monique Ashton, and the city stands strongly and proudly with pride. So thank you all for being here today.
My name is Monique Ashton. Thank you, Council President. We really appreciate all of your leadership as well as all the colleagues that are here behind me. I am from the great city of Rockville. I just want to say from personal experience that pride matters and actions matter. Growing up, I saw some relatives experience very difficult things in terms of not being accepted, and that really left a big mark on me. What that does to their career opportunities, what that does to education opportunities and acceptance. So this is not just words. This is livelihoods of people. And as we celebrate Pride, we need to remember that. We've made a ton of progress, and I'm so thankful to be here in Montgomery County and in Maryland. But just to say 3 quick things. One is we need to watch out. While we're making progress, people like to take away from that progress, and we're seeing that around the country. We can't take it for granted. It shows itself in terms of health disparities, education disparities, mental health disparities, substance abuse and misuse disparities. It runs the gamut. Second thing is that we need to be unafraid to love and to celebrate Pride. Although we're seeing nationally books being banned, we're seeing basic brands and companies stepping up to show Pride being boycotted. What we need to do is show more love and take action, and to support those who stand up with Pride. And third, we need to remember our humanity. This is a matter of life and death. This is a matter of quality of life, and this is a matter of everyone having an opportunity to reach their highest potential. And so I leave you with that and say that the city of Rockville stands with Pride. We are basic things like, should people be able to access a bathroom? We are doing that here in the city of Rockville. And it's really strange that we're talking at such basic rights, but that's where we are in this country. And I look forward to working with my colleagues to increasing opportunities and making everyday life how we live with pride and not just words. Thank you.
So real quick, I also want to recognize Council Vice President Andrew Friedson's office. Cindy Gibson is or was here. Also want to recognize Delegate Bonnie Cullison's office. Brigida is here. And also want to recognize that Karen Bushel, our openly LGBTQ plus clerk of the court, was here. She had to go back to work. And with that, let's get on with our flag raising, right? Let's do it.